Mike check 1 2. Mike check 1 2. Aaron Thomas on the call here. We're just moments away from women's soccer action here at CCBC Essex. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to CCBC Essex, game one of a doubleheader, as Cecil College comes into the Coliseum to take on the Knights. Right now we have women's soccer action. After this game, we'll have men's soccer action, so stick around for that if you can.
The are assisted by Hannah Goff, Ryan Jones, and Danny Mescal.
Cool. Glad we got that correction out there. It's a correction on who the assistant coaches were for the Knights. The Seahawks of Cecil College come into today's game 0-4 on the season, so they are looking for something to go their way here this afternoon. And tough team for them to try and get their first W on the season, as they'll be going up against the Knights, who currently right now are sitting at 2-5 on the season. So the Knights aren't in the best position themselves, but definitely better than the 0-4 mark that the Seahawks find themselves at right now. The Knights are trying to break a 3-game losing streak. They are losers to Hartford Community College, Montgomery College, Anne Arundel College. The last win they got was back on September the 4th against Frederick Community College. So the Knights looking to end a 3-game losing streak here this afternoon. Some players to look out for the Knights. As always, number 1, Michaela Boyle. Last time I checked, she was leading the team in goal scoring, and she still is. She's 2 goals ahead of number 6, Bailey D'Amico. And we are off here. Starting control was the Seahawks, but the Knights got possession pretty quickly. Played back to the keeper. Seahawks take over here. Sure, a fast start is something that the Seahawks coaching staff talked to their players about. This Knights team struggled here in the early part of this season when they found themselves in an early hole. Going to try and avoid that here this afternoon. Here's Martinez Morfin. Making a slight run from the defensive position, and there was a player to watch out for, Michaela Boyle, already finding herself close to goal scoring area. Got ahead on that ball. Went over top of the goal. So goal kick for the Seahawks. Another player to watch out for on this Knights team, number 9, Juju Melendez. Melendez, kind of like the free safety for this Knights team, always seems to be at the right place at the right time to make the defensive stop. Speaking of defensive stops there, nice save there from the goalkeeper for the Seahawks. Being tested early here. And there was Melendez we were just speaking about. Knights working hard to find their offensive footing here in the early part of this game. Boyle, long shot, deflects off of a teammate. Couldn't see which Knights player that was. I believe it was number 5, Victoria. Maybe a little bit of a bruise after that one. Boyle's got a big shot. Here's Martinez Morfin carrying it into space. Boyle, she shoots and splits the uprights. Good carry into the offensive zone there from number 13, Jocelyn Martinez Morfin. Controlled after the goal kick. Here are the Knights. And just missed that goal-scoring opportunity. I believe that was Bailey D'Amico on that far sideline. Great opportunity at goal scoring. Just missed. Doesn't get much closer than that. Great way to start this game if you're a Knights fan. Gotta love what you're seeing. There's Gracie Halpin. Tried to find West. The quick pass. It was intercepted for a moment, but the Knights got it right back. But Melendez couldn't control it on that sideline, so game of hot potato continues. Seahawks trying to get their first possession over the midfield line here. We've played almost a full 5 minutes, and that entire 5 minutes has been spent in the defensive zone for the Seahawks. It'll continue there as a turnover. Boyle's going to turn, shoot. No shot. Instead, looking for the pass to D'Amico. Bailey D'Amico was cutting towards the goal. Had the right idea, just couldn't finish. There, once again, right idea, just couldn't finish. That time, Martinez Morfin. Should make it a goal by the time this game is over. Making a couple real nice runs from the back line there. There's Boyle. Tried to find Halpin. West was there as well. A little bit too far out in front. Here come the Seahawks. Offensive opportunity. Door, as quickly as it opened, it was shut right in the face of the Seahawks. Nice move there by Morfin. Far sideline, carrying it into space. Here's Bailey D'Amico looking for a cross. Has a defender in front. Gets the cross with the left foot. Shot by Halpin. Was no good on the first try. Second time, up into the top left corner. First goal of the game for the Knights comes off the foot of number 12, Gracie Halpin. Sophomore out of Lochraven High School. Let's see how many goals Gracie had coming into today's game. Only one. So in her fourth game started this season, she gets her second goal of the year. So the Knights get the scoring going here early. We were talking about just a few minutes ago, the Knights been notorious in the early part of the season for not starting off on the right foot. There's been plenty of games this year where the Knights kind of shot themselves in the leg and then just bled out from there. So hard to win a game at any level, but the higher up you get, it becomes even harder when you are having to play catch-up the entire time. Here comes West. She's going to get a one-on-one shot, and a tremendous save there by the Seahawks with the leg. Just stuck that foot out there, made the quick save. West had a one-on-one breakaway, and if she doesn't get a goal here this afternoon, that one will be an opportunity she'll be thinking about later, that's for sure. Not going to get many chances like that. West, good effort play there to get the head on the ball. Here's Halpin. Tried to play it over to the left foot. Set herself up for a shot. Didn't have good control, though. That's why we find ourselves where we're at right now. Seahawks in control, but not for long. Madison D'Amico takes it. Tries to find Melendez on the sidelines, but Melendez, not Stretch Armstrong. Couldn't stretch out to get that one. Here are the Seahawks still trying to get this ball into their offensive zone for the first time here this afternoon. Melendez, good head ball. Knights have space on that far side. D'Amico carries it. And nice shot. Better save. Was right at the keeper, but man, that's a hard one to save on the first bounce. A lot of shots like that you'll see maybe ricochet off the goalkeeper's chest or hands. Set one of the Knights players up for a rebound shot. That time was caught cleanly. There was no rebound shot to be had. Knights still with possession here as the nightmare start to this game for the Seahawks continues. Substitution coming into the game for the Knights. Melendez taking a break. Gracie Halpin had to fight for control, but finally got it. And here come the Knights offense. D'Amico with some fancy footwork on that far sideline to get control. But she does not have it for long as we are 10 minutes into this contest. The Knights lead 1-0 right now. Martinez Morphin shot, and is that a goal? Wow, it is. I thought that was on the other side of the net. Martinez Morphin said earlier she may get her, I believe that's her first goal of the season. Let's see. It is. Out of the 7 games played so far, Jocelyn Martinez has started 6 of them. And that's her first point of the season. No goals or assists coming into this game, but she gets her first one there, and it was a tremendous effort. Jocelyn Martinez Morphin got herself into a goal-scoring area and ripped a low shot. Those low shots, you always hear the coach say, those are the hardest ones to save for the goalkeeper, and you saw that on full display right there. A couple step-over moves here for the Knights. Pass up to D'Amico, over to West. West with the left foot and splits the uprights. And the Vikings could have used that yesterday. Poor Kirk Cousins. Two nothing is our score now. Make it a little bit bigger now, though. Eske saw her fellow defenseman get a goal there. Thinking, man, she made that look pretty easy. Maybe I can get one of those. This could be a game where we see a lot more defensemen getting some offensive opportunities in the game for the Knights. And vice versa, of course. The offensive players getting some opportunity to play defense. You tell me which one of those groups of people is more excited about that. Eske plays it into the box. Boyle's there applying the pressure. Finally wins the ball. Played into the middle. Halpin shoots. And she'd want that one back, I'm sure, if we got a chance to ask her about it. Missed opportunity there. Knights can afford to miss some opportunities, though, where they're playing right now. Stolen at the midfield line. Here comes Madison D'Amico. Trying to find Halpin in the middle, but those passes into the middle. Always dangerous. It was intercepted there, but the Knights get it right back. Here's Ramirez. Up to the other D'Amico. Bailey. And Bailey puts the cross on. Can't finish. And the Knights. Another missed opportunity from them. Bailey D'Amico, a great cross there. West was coming in like a rocket, just couldn't get there fast enough. The nightmare start to this first half continues for the Seahawks. There's Halpin, another chance. This time doesn't even split the uprights. Well, I guess it did after the bounce. Halpin tried to make up for her last missed shot. Taylor West taking a seat on the bench. Coming in for her looks to be number 11, Jessica Silveria. Sophomore out of Baltimore, Maryland. Spent her high school days at Kenwood High. And here come the Knights, working it back to the defense. Gasky initially over to Madison D'Amico, who gave it over to Jocelyn Martinez-Morfin. Morfin has space, taking advantage of it. Now here's Halpin. Turns over to Boyle. Boyle, one more pass. Short passes were tremendous there for the Knights. Almost led to the third goal of the game. Still could here as they'll have possession after chasing it down. D'Amico, that won't count. As soon as she got to that ball, the line judge on this near sideline had that flag up in the air. I saw it immediately. That means Bailey was offsides on that far sideline. Remember, fans, this is just game one of our doubleheader. These two programs' men's teams will be going head-to-head after that one. After this one, excuse me. Not going to want to miss that. Here's Halpin. Played up to Boyle, a little bit too far out in front. Boyle's got wheels, but she'd have to be Barry Allen to chase up to that one. And the offense. Picture perfect there outside of the shot once again for the Knights. The short passing game is on full display there. And, man, if that would have worked out for Halpin, would have given her a tip of the hat. That would have been a tremendous play with the back heel. Halpin's got a chance to make another tremendous play here and does. Gracie Halpin. Now 2 goals here this afternoon. After only having 1 goal before the start of this contest. She's already got 2 here in this game. Under 30 minutes to play now. And the Knights look like they are well on their way to snapping their 3-game losing streak. And as we are headed down the stretch run of this season, it's a perfect time to have a game like this. Really start to build momentum. Now, of course, this game is not over by any stretch of the imagination. But it is starting to look like the Knights are maybe just the more high-powered team here. I mean, honestly, if you would have told me here before this game started that just over 10 minutes into the contest, the Knights would be up 3-0, and they wouldn't have any goals from Michaela Boyle or Bailey D'Amico, I would say, I wouldn't call you crazy, but maybe I'd call you crazy. Good play to control that ball. Halpin plays it into the box. Did have a player cutting towards that ball, Caitlin Jackson, a freshman out of C. Milton, right? A little bit too far out in front of number 4, though. And Jocelyn Martinez-Morfin takes a well-deserved seat on the bench. Gracie Halpin, nice move to get past the first defender. Could not make that second move, though. And it's turnover by the Knights. Both ways around. The Knights were able to get the possession back there for a moment, but they turn it right back over. And here come the Knights. Gracie Halpin, another chance from a similar position where she scored her second goal. This one not very accurate. Missed opportunity. Boyle with control after the throw-in. Knights keeping that foot on the gas pedal here 20 minutes into the first half. 3-0 lead is a big lead. Definitely not impossible, though. Knights can't chase that one down. A little bit too far out in front. Substitutions coming in fast. For the Seahawks. Something I'm sure we'll be seeing much more of. Only have one player on their bench, though. So it's not going to, although substitutions not going to do much for the fatigue. You got players coming in and out so quickly. There's a quick shot by Grandaios, I believe. Yep, number 10. Nohani Grandaios. From El Salvador. Grandaios is. And the whistle, handball goes against the Knights. Looked accidental, but a handball for sure. Was wondering if the ref was going to let continuation go there for a second. Missed kick there from the Seahawks. Number 8, Clara Cooper. And a nice save there from the the Seahawks. Sure, the Seahawks just every few minutes you got to look up at the scoreboard and just think, man, when is this first half going to come to an end? This is really been as much of a nightmare first half as you can imagine. Down 3 goals, but not only down 3 goals. I mean, they've shown no signs of life offensively here in this game. And a lot of that has to do with the tremendous defense being played by the Knights, but a lot of that has to do with sloppy turnovers and just poor play as well. Not the start to this game that the Seahawks coaching staff, players, and fans were hoping for. But hey, it's a lovely afternoon. It is indeed a lovely afternoon here at the Coliseum, as I like to call it. There's Melendez. Woo. Could have got herself a goal or maybe even assist off that one. Put that one into the middle of the box. Goal scoring area. As I was starting to say, it's a lovely afternoon here at the Coliseum, as I like to call it. I encourage you guys at home, if you can, sometime this season, come out to a game. Always exciting soccer action, whether it's men's or women's. Can't go wrong with either one. Remember, fans, these two programs' men's teams will be going head-to-head after this. Here's a chance once again here for the Knights. Corner kick, first corner of the game. That's a little bit of a surprise. Up 3 goals and now just getting a first corner. Good corner. Had Madison D'Amico streaking from the other side of the field from that far sideline. And from her defensive line position. Had a chance. They can afford to miss a couple chances, though. Up 3-0 here in the early part of this game. There's Boyle. Testing out the cannon there. It's a lot closer than I thought, honestly. She started reaching back from all the way back there. Figured that would end up looking more like a cross than a shot. And bounced up on the goalkeeper pretty quickly. Here's West. It's past one defender. Nice move. The shot. And that's saved there with the foot. I think that would have went out of bounds anyway. We'd rather make the save than leave it up to chance. But West, great effort there to get into the goal-scoring area. Opportunity still there for the Knights, though. And it'll remain there as they'll take over the throw-in. Knights still with that foot on the gas pedal here as we are under 20 minutes to play in the first half. Boyle gets the throw in from Melendez, gives it right back to Melendez, and a little bit of a mishit there. Somehow it still finds its way over to West, and West is able to bury it into the back of the net. Should have put that right on the keeper, but the keeper couldn't make the save initially with the leg. Bounces up off the leg and into the back of the net. Doesn't matter if it's pretty or not as long as it hits the back of that net. Right there was a perfect example of that.
Knights goal scored by number 8, Taylor West.
So 4 goals here in this first half for the Knights. This is the deepest that the Seahawks have had the ball in their own zone. Now, granted, they don't have possession of the ball right now. Now they do. So this now is officially the deepest they've had it into their offensive zone. Maybe this gets a little bit of momentum rolling down onto their side. I'm sure they'll probably get at least 1 goal here in this game. Longer it continues this way, I'm sure you're going to see more Knights players who are used to playing certain positions, playing other different positions they're not as used to playing. Players going for goals who don't really get a lot of opportunities to score goals. It only takes one opportunity, get one good transition opportunity to get a goal. Speaking of that, you almost saw that come into play for the Knights there. Seahawks will still have possession, here as we have played almost 30 minutes in this first half. Knights are offsides. Not by much. Person with the flag is in charge, though. Boring day between the pipes so far for number 0, Peyton Aperuzzi. And here's a run from the Knights. I believe that's number 2, Mia Ramirez. It is. She had stolen away from her. She steals it right back. Tried to play it into the middle. And there is a missed opportunity for the Knights. One they can certainly afford to miss, though. Quick strike. Rolls all the way to the keeper. Here's Melendez. Someone on her backside has to get rid of it. Instead, just lets it roll out of bounds. The referee's going to wave that off. Send it back to Melendez. Had some substitutions that were supposed to come in before the throw-in. That's why those substitutions come into the game. 3 for the Knights, 1 for the Seahawks. Gracie Halpin, nice footwork here. Get around a few defenders. My count was 3. That last defender, though, the fourth one, was one too many. I was talking about it earlier, the transition opportunities. There was one right there for the Seahawks. Or at least it was there for a moment. One thing this defensive line for the Knights does so well is they move as a unit. A lot of offsides calls against this team. It's because they move as a line. You don't see one player hanging back. Melendez, very physical to get that ball back. Tremendous effort there from the defender for the Knights. Defender, I said earlier, is kind of like the free safety for this Knights team. It's Gracie Halpin trying to get that ball back in possession of the Knights. It was last touched by her, though. Seahawks take over possession. How long? We'll find out. Game of hot potato right now. Neither team possessing it. That game of hot potato will continue as the Seahawks want to get set up defensively, so they just kick that ball out of bounds. Just over 10 minutes, left to play here in this first half. First half that has been dominated by the Knights. Remember, fans, these two programs' men's teams will be going head-to-head after this, a game you're not going to want to miss. The Knights men's teams come into that game 4-4-1 on the season. Seahawks 1-5 on the season. Should be a very entertaining contest. We'll still have another 45 minutes, though, of this game after the final 10 minutes of this first half. They say, even though this first half has not gone the way the Seahawks wanted it to or expected it to, I admire their effort. No point putting the head down and just giving up here, right there. Great evidence of that. Seahawks defenders calling out for their midfielders to get back. And there, number 10. Megan O'Neill had to make a great move to get that ball out of the scoring zone for the Knights, at least for a moment. And that one's out of bounds. Knights take over possession. We'll have a substitution coming to the game for the Knights, though, before then. Taylor West checking back in. West looking to get her second goal of the afternoon. She had the fourth goal, most recent one for the Knights. There's Bailey D'Amico, one touch into the box. Has to be saved by the keeper for the Seahawks. There was a very close opportunity for the Knights. Gracie Halpin, great effort there. Stole that goal kick right out of midair. Here's Halpin, chance for her third goal. He got to set up. Maybe took a little bit too long to set up because by the time the shot came off the foot, there was a defender in her way. It deflected off of that defender. Knights still working. Great footwork there from Boyle. Get around that defender. Here comes Bailey D'Amico. Shot. And wow, somehow that's a goal. Didn't have much of an angle there at all. Somehow Bailey D'Amico squeaks that past the goalkeeper and the post. And that is the fifth goal of the game for the Knights. And the fourth different player for the Knights to score a goal here this afternoon. And that fifth goal may just be the dagger here this afternoon.
Goal scored by number 6, Bailey D'Amico. The assist was by number 1, Michaela Boyle.
There, number 17, Ashley Kelly. Tried to go through a couple different Knights players. The third one was one defender too many. Body language starting to turn here for the Seahawks in the late stages of this first half. You saw Boyle split the defenders, and then the two defenders looked at each other as to say, I thought you were the one who was going to get that. Ball played into the box, but saved. And now under 5 minutes to play here in the first half. And a 5-0 lead for the Knights. They'll take over possession after the bad punt. That's something the Seahawks have struggled with here all afternoon. Not just the punt, it's the goal kick, the throw-ins, the whole 9 yards. They've really just struggled controlling the ball on the restart. There's another restart, and this one for the Knights, their second corner kick of the game. Man, look at that stat on that scoreboard over there. Interesting. 9 shots on goal for the Knights. They've got 5 goals and 9 shots on goal. It's a pretty good ratio. That one won't count as a shot on goal. As it splits the uprights with the head ball. I believe that one was Madison D'Amico. Madison trying to join her sister Bailey in the goal-scoring here this afternoon. It's Madison's second pretty good opportunity at goal, both of them coming off corner kicks for the Knights. Be interesting to see what the halftime strategy will be, halftime adjustments, will be for these two teams. As Bailey D'Amico is offsides, not by much, but is offsides indeed. Here's Boyle. Great run. Well, great run leading up to the shot. The shot was not very good at all. And she intercepted that ball out of the air. Made a defender miss. Got into goal scoring area. Here's Halpin over to Boyle. Boyle had two players that were there that could have got to that ball. Neither of them did. Knights still with possession, though. Chance to just run out the clock here as we are just over a minute left to play here in this first half. Ooh, Halpin took one off the noggin there. West getting around the defenders, or at least one of them. Can't get past that second one, so gives it up to Boyle. Boyle, a shot. Still no goal for Michaela Boyle, the leading goal scorer for this team. Up 5-0, and no goals for her. That's a big surprise, honestly. She's still one up on the lead in goals, though. Bailey D'Amico was 2 behind, and now she's 1. As she's picked up a goal here this afternoon. Under a minute left to play now in this first half. First half, it's been dominated here by the Knights. Boyle could get that 6th goal of the game. She won't get it there. Their pass was sniffed out there by the Seahawks. The Seahawks, if they can clear this out of their defensive zone, maybe the final play of the first half. Probably will be anyway, though, as the whistle was blown and the Seahawks can take their sweet time here. 20 seconds is all that separates these two teams from the halftime whistle. Halftime whistle that I'm sure the Seahawks coaches, players, and fans wished would have came about 20 minutes ago. And Mia Ramirez will make the final play of the first half for this Knights team. That'll be all she wrote for the first 45 of 45 that was dominated by the Knights. The score after the first half, 5-0. We'll be back after this short break. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here for the final 45. Maybe this one will be a little bit more competitive than the first, as the Seahawks come into this second half against the Knights down big, 5-0. The Knights had 4 different goal scorers in that first half. 2 goals by number 12, Gracie Halpin. 1 by number 13, Jocelyn Martinez-Morfin. 1 goal from number 8, Taylor West. And that final goal of the half coming from number 6, Bailey D'Amico. Something I predicted in the late stages of that first half was that we're gonna see some players switching positions here in the second half, and we're seeing that right now as Gracie Halpin is playing more towards the back line, probably indicating that she'll be playing more of a defensive midfield position or maybe even on the defensive line. Also conspicuous by her absence is Michaela Boyle and Bailey D'Amico. Both of them start this second half on the bench. We'll see how much of the time they spend in the second half on the bench. I'm sure we'll see some more reserve players coming into the game as the second half continues, if it continues the way it is right now, of course. Seahawks are still very much capable of making a nice little comeback here. Just have to find their footing offensively, as they spent pretty much that entire first half on their heels defensively in their defensive zone, and that'll continue here as corner kick for the Knights. Hands up in the air, ball is up as well. Short kick, give it right back to the player who took the corner kick. I believe that's Eski. Didn't work out the way the Knights drew it up, though. They still have possession. Melendez, long shot. Knights take over here. Goal kick deep in their, well, obviously deep in their defensive zone. It's a goal kick. Second half starting off much like the first half did. The Knights spending a lot of time in their offensive zone, and the Seahawks on their heels. Nice head ball there from Melendez. Almost got that ball back into the offensive zone. The Knights eventually do. Far sideline. Knights trying to play up here. And a little bit of pushing and shoving. leads to the turnover. Or excuse me, I thought the Knights, the last ones to touch that. Seahawks take over here, or excuse me, Knights take over here. Seahawks got to clear this out of their defensive zone. It's tough to try and carry that ball that far. Knights, safe play back to the keeper. Doesn't go the way they wanted it to. Luckily for Taylor Redkowski, goalkeeper this afternoon for the Knights. Defenders were in front of her to bail her out. Ball played into the middle. There's a Knights player trying to go for the one-time shot. There's Russell. Big leg there. Tried to cross the field. Nice shot. And an easy save. Honestly, not sure who number 15 is for the Knights because I don't have number 15 on my roster. I am assuming that that's Peyton Abruzzi. She usually plays goalkeeper. Her goalkeeper jersey is usually number 0. Either that or the Knights have a new player that I wasn't told about. Regardless, a nice shot there for number 15 that almost ended up being a goal. Goal kick, though, for the Seahawks. They take over. We've almost played 10 minutes here in the second half. Seahawks, more of the same from the first half. Just cannot get this ball out of their defensive zone. There was a freebie given to the Seahawks by the Knights and the dangerous play by Grandaios. There's a nice move there initially by Boyle. Got around the first defender, but the ball was a little bit too far out in front. She couldn't chase it down all the way. Here's Madison D'Amico carrying it from the defensive line. A lot of space in front. It's a good run. Finally cut off. And works it back to another defender. Should be the offensive strategy I would have taken from the start here in the second half. Just work that ball around. Obviously, you're not opposed to scoring more goals, but don't want to run the score up either. Opportunity to work on formations and different ways to get the ball from point A to point B. Santoro, a nice move there, deflected off the keeper. Went out of bounds. Last touch, though, by the Knights. I believe that was Gracie Halpin. Nope, not Halpin. Instead, number 11, Jessica Silveria. Played over 10 minutes now here in this second half. Score remains the same, 5-0. Not for lack of trying, though, from the Knights. Not a great clear attempt there. Doesn't come back to haunt them, though. Jocelyn Martinez-Morfin checks back into the game. Bad clear attempt by the Seahawks gives possession back to the Knights. Melendez, long kick into the box. No one is there. Possession remains with the Knights. Trying something here, far side. Here's Grandaios. And as it's stolen away from her and played out of bounds, Knights still with possession here. Martinez-Morfin will take the throw. Boyle got sent on her backside there. Immediately looked up for the foul. She knew you couldn't do that. Kayla looking for something. Don't think that's what she was looking for. Martinez-Morfin gets past two defenders. Can she get past the third? She cannot. Possession remains with the Knights, though. Here's Russell. Russell, two defenders on her. Looking to get rid of that ball. Seahawks. Defender says, I'll take that ball off your hands. Corner kick for the Knights. Seahawks couldn't catch it cleanly the first time around, but second time they're able to make the save. Under 30 minutes to play here in this contest. Knights take over here on a corner kick. We'll have some substitutions coming into the game for both teams before then. And that one's over everybody's head. Hannah Russell, the only one close to that ball, and there's nothing she could do with it anyway. Oh, wow! Nothing else I can say to describe that one. That was very impressive. Another tremendous goal there for the Knights. 6-0 is now the score. I believe this is the highest point total of the year for the Knights. Let's see.
Knights goal was scored by number 1, Michaela Boyle.
Kayla Boyle gets her first goal of the afternoon, 7th of the season, and the Knights came into this game with only 15 goals on the season, so almost at half that right now. Just over 2 goals a game was their average on the season. They're already well above that, obviously. 6-0 is now our score. It's our first goal of the second half. All 5 goals before then coming in the first half. Boyle got space. Chance to add another goal to her total. Instead, she went for the pass. And that'll be offsides. Offsides only because that save wasn't initially made. Bailey D'Amico goes for the shot. And that's one she'd like to have back. 2 balls on the field, and we'll get rid of 1. Great passing there on display from the Knights. Halpin trying to make that one extra pass. Boyle, one-time shot with the left foot is no good. Play it back to Katowski. First action of the season, and what a day to start. Not tested really at all here at any point this afternoon. I think the only 2 times that she's actually touched the ball is when one of her defenders in front of her has played it back to her. Here's Boyle, played up to Halpin. Halpin has 2 black jerseys in front of her, and one of them will pick that ball off. Can't clear it out of the danger zone just yet, though, as the Seahawks men's team is headed to go start their warm-ups. Gives me a perfect opportunity to remind you guys once again at home, this is just game 1 of our doubleheader. These 2 programs' men's teams will be going head-to-head after this. A contest you are not going to want to miss as the Seahawks come into tonight's showdown against the Knights 1-5 and on a 2-game losing streak. Their last game coming against Anne Arundel. It was a 3-0 loss on September 25th. The Knights, on the other hand, coming off a 4-0 win over Hartford, and they're looking for their 2nd straight victory, and they're looking to improve to 5-4-1 on the season. And what a tremendous save there made by the post. It's better to be lucky than good at anything, my dad used to say. That time the Seahawks got a little bit lucky. Get a little bit lucky here, though, as well. And that luck will continue, as that one was last touched by the Knights. Seahawks will take over possession deep in their defensive zone. As I was saying before then, the Knights are looking to, for the first time this season, go over the 500 mark. Right now they're 4-4-1 on the season. They'll be looking to improve to 5-4-1 with a victory here this afternoon against Cecil. So stick around for that. You are not going to want to miss that, and that's right around the corner. We only have 20 minutes left in this contest. I'm sure that some of these Seahawks players are wishing that they could fast forward through that 20 minutes. This one is pretty much been decided a while back. Boyle with the long boot. Rolls over to D'Amico. Bailey. Ramirez plays it in the box. Actually, she played that over the goal and split the uprights. Now under 20 minutes to play, and the Seahawks trying to get something going offensively. Here come the Knights. Good through ball. Here's a chance. Olivia Misato was there. Olivia couldn't finish. Here come the Knights. Still knocking on opportunity's door. They won't answer this time. The Knights men's team is now warming up on the sidelines as well, which means we're getting close to game 2 of our doubleheader. And the Knights will be looking to make the clean sweep here. That'll be the first time all season long, I believe, they'll be picking up the sweep on the visiting team. Could be wrong on that, though. Seahawks take over possession, far sideline, right in front of the midfield line. When rolled up on the arms, go down as a handball. And now Santoro, 4 yards behind the midfield line, take over on a free kick. We have almost played 30 minutes here in this second half. Second half that, much like the first half, was dominated by the Knights. Score won't reflect it, though, as we came into the second half already up 5-0, the Knights did. They've only added 1 goal to their total, but you could tell that their offensive game plan here was a lot different in the second half as opposed to the first half. Still going after the shots, but I believe there may be a pass rule. 4 or 5 passes before a shot kind of thing. At least that's the way it looks. There's an opportunity there for the Knights for a moment that the Seahawks take over. Sure, the goalkeeper for the Knights wanted to see that play maybe materialize, see what happens. Probably getting bored back there. Yeah, there's a save. I believe that may actually be the first save of the game for Katowski. Here's Halpin. Turning the Jets on. Gets past one defender. Passes over to a teammate. Can't see who that was. I believe that's Victoria, number 11. Tried to play that into the middle. Easily saved. We've now played over 30 minutes in this second half. Bailey D'Amico is offsides, and she points to the defender in front of her as to say, how could I be offsides? Opportunity. There's, I believe, Mia Ramirez with the left foot, I thought. Waiting to see the jersey on the back. Yep, number 2, Mia Ramirez. Freshman midfielder out of Austin, Texas. Spent her high school days at Mercy High. Big group substitution coming into the game for the Knights. Bailey D'Amico, Eski, Halpin, and Ramirez all take a seat on the bench. They have probably played their final minutes here this afternoon. One of those players getting a goal, Bailey D'Amico, earlier in this contest, the last goal of the first half. That's a surprise here in the second half, is that the Knights have only gotten 1 goal. The way things were going in the first half, I thought they'd be getting a few more here in the second half. But then, of course, strategy for the Knights definitely been a little different here in the second half as opposed to the first. Played into the middle. There's West looking for her second goal of the game. She won't get it on that one, but chance for a teammate. As he couldn't catch that one cleanly, the Seahawks could. Can they clear it? They can't right now. There's Hannah Russell. Puts it into the back of the net. What a tremendous goal. Second goal of the second half. And there's number 17, Hannah Russell. Freshman defender out of Parkville, Maryland. Spent her high school days at Parkville High School.
Next goal scored by number 17, Hannah Russell.
Here comes West. Trying to make the run. Nice defensive move there from number 17 of the Seahawks, Ashley Kelly. And the Seahawks, for a moment, thought they were going to have their first goal of the game, but offsides. And well up near the midfield line. That's one of the benefits of having the defensive line move as a unit like the Knights do. We'll get those offsides calls, up near the midfield line. A lot of times if you have a defender hanging out by their lonesome, you won't get those calls. That's why you always hear defensive coaches preach to their back line, move as a unit. Under 10 minutes to play now. Seahawks watched an opportunity slip through their fingers a moment ago. And that ball went out of bounds, line judge said. Seahawks take over, throw in here. Oh, another tremendous shot on goal there from the Knights That one coming from number 16, Madison D'Amico, trying to join her sister Bailey in the goal-scoring club. Madison hit the post that time. Very, very close. Tremendous shot on goal. And some substitutions coming back into the game for the Knights. A little bit of surprise here. See Jocelyn Martinez Morphin come back into the game. Sure she'll be playing up into the midfield and forward position, though. Looking to get her another goal. She's already got one here this afternoon. She had the second goal of the game, if I'm not mistaken. There'll be another corner kick here for the Knights. Now under 8 minutes left to play. Good corner. Couple white jerseys there. None of them are going to be able to get a shot on goal, at least right now. Here come the Seahawks. Melendez stops ball for the moment, and she had a chance to clear it all together here. And she does. Just tremendous defensive effort there from Juju Melendez. Though I'm sure she's still got the fresh legs, as this Knights team hasn't been tested much here this afternoon. Seahawks take over. Knights take over possession after a little game of hot potato, and wow, they put one into the back of the net. Turn of events there. 8-0. Is the score now for the Knights.
Knights goal scored by number 5, Tori Alestia.
Martinez Morphin picks that one out of the air. Gets past 2 defenders, now a third. And once she got past that third defender, decided to get rid of the ball. Ball goes out of bounds. Knights take over possession here once again. Under 5 minutes to play, which means we've played 40 minutes here in the second half. Second half that, much like the first, has been dominated by the Knights. And in the late stages of the second half, the goal scoring is picked up right where it left off in the first half as well. Almost matching the total. 2 goals away from matching their total from the first half at 5. As the score is 8-0 in favor of the Knights. The Knights will end a 3-game losing streak here this afternoon, and more importantly, they will improve to 3-5 on the season. As I said earlier during the broadcast, it's a perfect time to have a game like this as we're headed into the home stretch of the season. You'll start finding your footing offensively and defensively, of course, as we're headed into tournament time. A game like this goes a long way in building up that confidence as well, which is always so important headed into tournament time. Winning time, as some coaches would say. Martinez Morphin gets around 2 defenders. It's like great footwork here today. Showing off the foot skills and maybe showing her coaches that maybe she should be getting some more playing time at the midfield. I don't know if that goal is going to count as a goal for her, for Martinez Morphin, as it looked like it deflected off maybe a few Knights players or maybe even a Seahawks player. Regardless, it will go down as another goal for the Knights, though. It's looking like the final score in this one is going to be 9-0 in favor of the Knights. As my dad would say, this is a good old-fashioned beatdown. So Caitlin Jackson will get credit for the goal. The Knights are now 1 goal away from matching their goal total from the first half at 5. What an offensive outburst this game has been. They could get that 5th goal here in the second half right here. Here comes Jackson trying to get around Kelly. Knights still with a chance. Couldn't get that one. Now just over a minute left to play. Here's Russell. Hannah Russell had a great goal earlier. And that will be a whistle against the Knights. Could be all she wrote. Could be the final offensive opportunity from them. Jackson trying to play it up front over to Grandaios. Got it played right back towards her. And now with just over 30 seconds, the Seahawks take over control. They give it right back to the Knights. Jocelyn Martinez Morphin. Throw in. Over to Madison D'Amico. D'Amico long cross. Kicked out of the air by the Seahawks. And the Knights will play keep away for the final 10 seconds and will improve their record to 3-5 on the season with a 9-0 victory here this afternoon over Cecil College. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is only game 1 of our doubleheader. These 2 programs' men's teams will be going head-to-head after this. So please stick around for that one if you can. If you can't,
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of tonight's contest.
good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Seahawks 0. We thank you for joining us. this evening. As you leave, please drive.